Okay, I get, look at that. That's beautiful. I couldn't really imagine a Tudor colonial mansion. It's beautiful. Now that I'm seeing the photos of it, look at that. With all that river rot, well, it's not as pretty when you find out the realtors have been, let me just say, doing it all over the inside of the mansion. I talk about a decrease in value. Frank Morano, talk show host at 970 The Answer. What happened and how did these two get busted? Oops, is that a camera?
This is incredible, Nancy. The Weiners put up their home in Wayne, New Jersey for sale. Their realtor, Mr. Robert Lindsay, told them that they could probably get close to $1 million for it. And instead of trying to sell the house while they moved out so that renovations can be done, Mr. Lindsay thought he was doing a 21st century remake of the Jack Lemmon movie The Apartment. And he and a fellow real estate agent, after making an unauthorized second key, usually we'd say allegedly had sex, but we see the video. They had sex. They were caught on security cameras having sex, and this video has become the talk of the Internet since airing on Inside Edition.
Out to the lines. Hi, Katie. What's your question?
Hi, I'm curious to know, did they actually get the job done?
Well, what job are you referring to? Frank Morano, hold on with me right now. I am being joined by Frank Weiner, who caught the realtor having sex in the home over and over again. Richard, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Nancy, for having me on the show. I love you.
You know what? Thank you very much. And that is a beautiful home. I couldn't really imagine in my mind a Tudor, colonial, and then when I saw it, it's beautiful. Did this affect, oh, wow. Okay, I'm just now seeing the inside. Okay, I would like to live there other than the realtors and their DNA and their nasty bits all over the home. What happened, Richard? Tell me the whole thing.
Well, it's a sad story, unfortunately, but I was in the bedroom. My wife came running upstairs, and she's like, the house is being broken into. And I'm like, well, the alarm's not going off. And she's like, no, not this house, the other house. So, like, don't tell me. Call 911, like, now. So she calls the Wayne police, calls 911. The police are on the scene fairly quickly, and they're like, hey, are you familiar with, like, this Jaguar that's in your driveway? And she's like, well, our realtor has a Jaguar. So the police enter the house, and, you know, with flashlights, and basically there's Bob Lindsay.
Driving a Jaguar? Whoa, Richard Weiner, who caught the realtors having sex in their mansion that was up for sale, right there, that should have been a tip-off. Unless you're driving a Jaguar, when the realtor's driving a Jaguar, that would put me on edge immediately. You know what? I'm a working girl. I'm driving a minivan, and when they're making so much money, they're driving a Jaguar, I'd be concerned. So with all the money they've got with a Jaguar, why did they need your place to have sex?
Well, I think they were basically covering their tracks. I mean, what they did was they circumvented the lockbox and made a duplicate key so they can apparently come in undetected, but he forgot about the security cameras. So basically we have date time stamps of all their entries, and he used the lockbox 2 times out of 13 times. Because again, he didn't want to be detected, and he was detected. So we have records of all that, and he's basically breaking and entering, and it's a burglary.
Hey, Richard, I interrupted you when you said Jaguar, and my antenna went up. Everybody, you are seeing caught on tape, Inside Edition, inside this gorgeous home the Weiners had up for sale. They get an alarm. Their home is being broken into. Call 911. They find a Jaguar in the driveway. And so what happens then, Richard? I want to hear the whole thing.
So the police basically, they call back, and it's like they mention the Jaguar, and we're like, well, it looks like there's people in the house with flashlights. You know, what's going on here? So the police enter, and you can see the police on camera.
Wait. They were having sex with no electricity? Am I hearing that?
They were in the dark, and what turned out to look like flashlights. I guess one of their Blackberries went off, and it looked like a flashlight, and that's what my wife thought she saw. So they were in the dark, at the time. The police walked in with
Well, I
flashlights.
guess that's what you get for having sex with your BlackBerry, right there going off. Okay, go ahead. That's neither here nor there.
Okay, so the police call back, and it's like, do you know a Bob Lindsay? He says he's your realtor. It was like, yeah. And at the time, we didn't know that they had a duplicate key. You know, it's like, well, what's going on here? And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is the realtor in the house with the lights out and flashlights? It's like, arrest him. And they're like, well, he's your realtor. We're not going to arrest him. You deal with it. And the police didn't know at the time that he was breaking in the house with a duplicate key. So the police leave. They lock up the house. And I'm immediately, like, emailing Bob Lindsay, like, hey, what are you doing in the house with flashlights in the dark? What's going on? Who are you with? Why are you there? This doesn't make any sense. And then he's not responding. And usually he was very quick on responses. And when he finally does respond, it's like the answers are disheveled. It's going back and forth. There's like a long gaps in time. The story keeps changing. And then finally, the last email, it's like, well, I was trying to do a nice thing for you. And then, of course, we find out
what was the nice thing he was trying to do for you?
Well, he was talking that he was setting up for an open house, which he wasn't.
In the dark?
Right, in the dark.
By the light of his BlackBerry, he was setting up an open house?
Yes, and he told the police that he was showing the house to the other person, but who was another realtor, but he really wasn't showing the house because she's been in the house all those other times. So
okay, Richard, I've got to ask you an obvious question.
Yes.
Why do you have a nanny cam in your bedroom?
Well,
just curious.
The camera was actually focused on the bedroom windows. We had a wired security system, which he told us we had to disconnect so that the realtors could come in to use the lockbox and not set off the alarms. So when we signed the contract with him, we're like, hey, we found a solution. We're putting in wireless cameras so that if there's any problem, if a pipe bursts, if this happens, if someone breaks in the house, we have a record of it, et cetera. Oh, what a good idea. So,
okay, I'm going to take you at your word, Richard, that you really did have it trained on the window and not on the guest bedroom bed. Richard, where does the case stand now? What, if anything, have they been charged with?
So right now, we're just getting started in the legal process. There's been a bunch of delays. And
have they been charged with anything?
No, we have a
What? They haven't been charged at least with trespassing?
Not yet. That's on the list.
Alicia Lawyers, Patrick McDonough, Brian Claypool. All right, McDonough, what's the holdup? What, because they're rich and white, they can't get charged with criminal trespass? I bet if these two came into your house and got DNA and nasty bits all over your kitchen table, you'd get them charged.